What's up guys, Lifting here. In this video I'm going to show you my SRS build against the endgame bosses so you can get a feel for how the damage is. It's like a SRS versus boss type of thing. We're going to do Argus first, then we go into each of the Guardians and then Shaper so you can get a feel for it. I haven't set up my Uber Elder for the map, so we're going to skip that, but you'll still get a feel for it. But we're going to start with Argus here in the Uberland. And there we go. And Isaro phase 1. And we got him.
Just have to
wait for the animation
now to
cancel. And Isaro phase 2. And he's down. And phase 3. And I accidentally killed one of the urns up there, so we're not gonna get the final key, but still. There we go. And I might as well show you if we get anything. 2 more keys. Gems. Oh, such a good feeling. Never get tired of that. Alright, now for Minotaur. And we have a pretty nasty damage map here, so I have to be very careful. But we're gonna get some SRS up to help us here.
Need to get them a little closer.
And then when we run in, we will use the Vol arc to apply the elemental equilibrium, and we just want to avoid that thing, and there we go. Perfection. So we got a Chimera with double curse here and less effective curse on monsters. Let's do that. We want to hit him with the... yeah, okay, he's down. It's damage pretty good. Then for the goats. Alright, there we go again. And is he out? Nope, there he is. Next minion phase. Alright. And next cloud phase. What an annoying fight. Oof, I got a little close there. Oof. And I think it's last minion phase, so we got him down pretty much instantly there. And final Chimera phase. Ugh. Actually, we'll go into the portal because I'm out of flasks here, and then go in again. There we go. And there we go. And I honestly didn't really bother too much applying the elemental equilibrium, which is a huge damage boost, but it isn't necessary here. Alright, now for the Hydra. Let's do this here, get some cast speed up. Get some minions up, and oops. That wasn't too smooth. Alright, where is she? Down here. And there we go. Oh, and I was using melee splash this time. We could have dealt a lot more damage with melee fist. And now for the
Phoenix.
And it has minus max, so little dangerous. Let's see if we can manage. Just get these up here and run in. And whoop, there we go. First Shaper Guardian. Alright, second one. And third one. Let's not get slammed the dunked here. And I think you'll come up here, yeah. Whoops. There we go. Now for the Shaper. And I think we got him to phase shift. Yeah. And we have the dude here. And now for Shaper phase 2. Alright. And the SRS, they will kind of chase the bullets and then they will die, some of them at least, out here. And I think yeah, we got him to phase change. And there we go. So yeah, damage is pretty good on SRS in my opinion. And it isn't even too expensive to get up and running to this point. But there is a thing with SRS where it feels decent when you start leveling with it. Then once you get to maps, it's an okay-ish type of skill for map clearing for that matter. And then you kind of wait a long period for your skill gems to level up. And as they level up, obviously they get much stronger. SRS is one of those skills that just scale exceptionally well with levels. But then you kind of hit this wall where once you get into, I'd say like red tier maps, where it starts to slow down and it doesn't feel that great. It's still decent and okay-ish, but then you really have to make some gear adjustments, and the biggest one of those is getting that staff. The staff makes a huge difference in terms of damage output. Without that staff, or without the Fortify linked to the SRS, you really want to get a plus to all fire gems staff, and if you can, possibly also get +1 to level of socketed gems. That can be very powerful too. It's not as good, but it's still very good, and you can pretty much do anything on or with that staff too. But if you really want to take it to that final level, then you want that Fortify +2 fire gem staff, and then craft a minion mod on it or something like that. Another thing is that the gear is actually rather cheap, relatively speaking. But what can get expensive is getting the right type of jewels. And for instance, I'll show you here in my gear. One of the best ways to scale SRS damage is via Abyss Jewels, where you want to get the increased minion damage if you've used a minion skill recently. And you obviously do that all the time, so that's a lot of extra damage. And then you want to get some flat added physical damage to it if you can. These have additional cold damage because I didn't want to pay for the expensive ones. But if you want to get physical and increased minion damage if you used a minion skill recently and a life roll, then they get pretty expensive. So you kind of have to balance this and figure out how much you want to invest into this. You don't have to get the life rolls on it, of course, and you can also easily skip a minion damage roll if that's the issue. But always try to get the increased minion damage if you've used a minion skill recently on your Abyss Jewels, and then you just want to have as many of those as possible into your tree, as this makes a huge difference. The Victorious Charity or Victorious Influence chest armor, I have it 6 linked here. You don't need that either, you just need it 5 linked. And then you want to have your offensive auras in that, such as Anger and Hatred. And then together with the Devouring Diadem that reduces 20% of mana reservation of the auras, and then this one with 30% reduced mana reservation. Together with that, you're able to run all the auras, which means that we can run Haste, we can run Hatred, Discipline, and Anger. And this just allows us to run a pretty sweet setup where we don't have to invest too much into Energy Shield to be able to get a decent pool and sustain our Mind Over Matter from. And we can run it together with the Wicked Ward that makes it so that once your Energy Shield starts to recharge, then it won't stop, which is a very powerful defensive layer, especially when you then combine it with the Devouring Diadem that makes it so that you have a 10% chance for Energy Shield to recharge or start when we use a skill. And obviously we use SRS all the time, so our Energy Shield recharge, it procs constantly and it just works very well. Optimally, you would want to level this build a few more levels. The best would be if you could get it to like 94, because that would mean you could get the Arcane Focus here. It would grant you some more Energy Shield recharge speed, because Wicked Ward reduces this, and there are situations where you take a lot of damage where your recharge rate is just not fast enough So if you can get more recharge, recovery speed or whatever it's called, then that is that makes a very nice difference. And it would also mean that we grab the 2 extra life nodes here, because it feels very tanky in general, but when you get into the high tier red maps and you do the Legion monoliths, there are just some things that feel very, very nasty. But to be fair, even if you were playing a 9,000 full endurance charge build, then there are still monsters in the Legions that can instantly one-shot you, right? So it's kind of hard to gauge sometimes. But overall, I like SRS very much in the current state that it is. But it is definitely via boss killing that it shines. It is a decent mapper too, but there is better builds for fast mapping. For Legion monolith clearing, it feels good once you get it to this point, but it doesn't feel particularly great until this. I've left a Path of Building link in the description below for anyone who wants to check it out. There's also leveling trees in that and budget gear suggestions, in case you're interested. A big shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for watching. And bros, do you even nerd?